इन्हीं को घर दे रहे हैं। 60,000 रेंट और डिपॉजिट दोनों पे मान गए।
अच्छा।
दोनों बैंकर्स हैं। ये स्वीट कपल यार। तेरे भाई ने क्या तो पटाया है।
पर भाभी, ये वो सोनाली जैसी नहीं लग रही?
कौन?
कि भैया की कॉलेज वाली एक्स गर्लफ्रेंड सोनाली।
नहीं।
दिमाग में हो पर तो किसी और को फाइंड तो कर। पर से परफेक्ट
Housing.com।
जहाँ है मैक्सिमम बायर्स एंड टेनेंट्स। Housing.com पर से परफेक्ट। डाउनलोड नाउ।
एल्डरली कपल है क्या?
Hello everyone. Namaskar, Salaam, Sat Sri Akal, Vanakkam. We are back with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com. This is India's first real estate focused podcast. It brings you updates, views, and insights about the realty sector, an explainer on a chosen subject, and a deep dive on an industry trend or topic. You can catch the episode on Housing.com on the Housing.com app, on earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Ghana.com, and JioSaavn. If you missed the episode, don't worry. We have you covered. Wear your headphones or put on the phone speaker. You can listen to this while driving, eating, cooking, jogging, running, walking, chopping vegetables, or basically doing anything else whenever you want, wherever you are. A rise in home buying interest in Tier 2 cities, sharp expansion in construction activity, long-term registration for the real estate agents in Uttar Pradesh, Housing.com's new Parr se Perfect campaign, and GST on rental income. Details of all these and much more in this episode. In an increasingly interconnected economy, cities, history shows that these are hotspots that drive growth. Cities matter to India because of the present stage of development. The future growth has to come from industries and employment opportunities, which have to be generated from cities and towns. Given India's rapidly changing urban and rural economic landscape, India is uncovering new geographic slivers of opportunity: states, metropolitan cities, and their hinterlands, and how. This is showing up in Housing.com's IRIS, or the Indian Residential Index for online search. It's a monthly index that tracks buyer activity in primary and secondary residential markets, as observed on the Housing.com portal. The index is created with the objective of giving an in-depth view of the buyer activity in India by tracking 42 key cities driving the residential market. The trends captured by this index show some telling insights. Tier 2 cities now command a significant 50 to 55% share in the overall online property search volume. The growth in online high-intent home buyer activity in Tier 2 cities has been more pronounced since the beginning of the pandemic. The shift towards work from home, importance of owning a home, persistence of COVID-19 cases in top 8 cities, and the resulting reverse migration during the pandemic have been instrumental in catapulting the residential demand in these cities. In terms of ticket size, it is interesting to note that while most of home search queries in Tier 2 cities are spread in less than Rs 50 lakh price category, the share of Rs 1 to 2 crores and more than Rs 2 crores is at par with that of the larger metros. These price trends resonate with the overall increase in spending propensity in small cities in recent years. This is what Ankita Sood, Head of Research at Housing.com, had to say.
We at Housing.com have seen a significant uptick in interest levels for residential properties, especially from the Tier 2 cities such as Surat, Patna, Ludhiana, Jaipur, Coimbatore, and Lucknow. Our IRIS index, which is a leading indicator of the potential residential demand in India's 42 key cities, renders this trend more prominently, especially post the pandemic. Now, factors such as reverse migration of the white-collar workforce, along with the concept of remote working, continue to have a powerful impact on the future of residential demand that is coming from these smaller cities. Also, home buyers are now leaning towards larger homes and localities in these cities with access to better healthcare services and security and open spaces are hugely in demand. In fact, the online property search volume on the index bounced back faster in the tier 2 cities as compared to the top metros, implying towards the potential of these smaller cities. The top 8 cities will definitely continue to be primary economic centers of India, no doubt about that. But it is the tier 2 cities that are going to be strong counter magnets to these larger metros. And this will have a ripple effect definitely on the real estate demand coming from the smaller cities. With the growth across consumption baskets, tier 2 cities we see are definitely poised to be influential economic hubs of the new urban India in the coming period.
Interestingly, home buyers in tier 2 cities are not looking for apartments, but are also actively searching for independent houses and plots. Cities such as Surat, Patna, Ludhiana, Jaipur, Coimbatore, and Lucknow, amongst others, are trending along with larger metros on the list of top 20 cities, witnessing maximum online property search volume according to the IRES index. Jaipur, for instance, was trending on the third spot in July 2022. Cities such as Indore and Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh have joined the list of top 20 cities with high online property search volume since March 2022. This is now demonstrable evidence that tier 2 cities are developing as strong counter magnets to large metros by minimizing the out-migration and attracting workforce from tier 3 cities and other small towns. If you have driven across cities and states, you may have noticed roads and bridges being built in newer areas. This is because construction activity in India has been rising sharply over the last few months, rising from the piling rubble of a COVID-19 pandemic. According to the latest National Income and Gross Domestic Product, or GDP data, the construction sector has recorded a healthy growth in the first quarter or April to June 2022 to 2023. Its gross value added, that is GVA, which is GDP minus taxes and a more realistic marker for measuring economic activity, grew 16.8% during April to June this year. Road and other infrastructure projects can spur economic activity, boost construction, and create jobs. The segment accounts for about 10% of GDP and is the largest creator of direct and indirect employment, employing about 50 million people. It has a strong multiplier effect, creating an estimated 2.7 new jobs indirectly for every rupees 1 lakh invested, with major forward linkages to sectors like real estate, infrastructure, and manufacturing, and backward linkages to steel and cement, among others. Here's a piece of policy news that will benefit thousands of real estate agents in India's biggest state, Uttar Pradesh. They would not now be required to scramble to renew their registration certificates every 5 years. The Uttar Pradesh Real Estate Regulatory Authority, or UP-RERA, on August 26th issued amendments to the registration system of real estate agents in the state through the registration certificate under Form H of UP-RERA rules. The amendment has allowed the registration of real estate agents to increase from 5 years to 10 years. In Rule 10, Subclause 3 of the UP Land Estate Regulation and Development Rules 2016, the validity period mentioned in the registration certificate will be increased to 10 years instead of 5 years, it said. As per new regulation number 48 in the Real Estate Regulatory Authority General Regulations 2019, UP-RERA grants authorization of registered agents. After the amendments, the processing fee for a single real estate agent will be Rs 1,000, and for others, the stipulated processing fee would be Rs 5,000. This comes after the registration of real estate agents in UP-RERA, which commenced at the end of July 2017, has started expiring or is about to expire after the initial validity period of 5 years.
सही कह रहे हैं, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ डन कर लेते हैं। बढ़िया कर रहे हैं यार। पानी करेंगे, पानी 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 पानी।
हेलो बेटा, तुम लोग यहाँ शिफ्ट हो रहे हो?
मोस्टली आंटी।
सही है। मेरे हस्बैंड है ना, तो इनके कुछ दवाइयाँ चाहिए, वो आप ले आओ। प्रेस्क्रिप्शन। हाँ। कितनी अच्छी बात है, तुम जैसे यंगस्टर्स इस बिल्डिंग में आ रहे हैं। पैसे तो लो। अच्छा, मैं क्या कह रही थी, जब आप मार्केट जा ही रहे हो तो मुरारी की दुकान से एक डबल रोटी और थोड़े अमरूद ले आना, बहुत अमरूद खाते हैं।
अच्छा अमरूद।
अच्छा सुनो, बच्चे जा रहे हैं, तुम्हें कुछ चाहिए? यही लेके आना बेटा।
आंटी जी एक मिनट। क्या पार्टी नहीं ड्यूटी लगेगी। Housing.com
Housing.com with maximum owner properties. Housing.com Parr से perfect. Download now.
आते हैं आंटी लेके हाँ सामान आपका। दूध ले आते हैं। चलिए फुट ले।
When you are looking for possible tenants for your house, you don't want the slightest issue, or a house hunting couple who stumbles upon the house of their dreams. Everything is exactly to their liking, until one partner spots a small issue. Or when you look for a house, the people in the neighborhood surely matter. Also, youngsters looking for a place, freedom to have a good time takes priority over everything. India's leading online real estate company Housing.com announced the launch of its latest TV and digital advertising campaign, Parr Se Perfect. In its quest to simplify the home buying, renting and selling journey, with this new campaign, the company acknowledges the fact that home buyers or renters or homeowners could end up not making a final decision to rent, buy or sell for reasons that could be very idiosyncratic and personal. Housing.com encourages the consumer to keep searching until they find their perfect choice of home or tenant or buyer, with the company providing the maximum options on its online platform to facilitate that search. Featuring various artists, the Housing.com ad campaign showcases the real estate company's basic principle of providing the maximum choices for home buyers, owners, and tenants, with a clever wordplay on the Hindi word par, which means but, referring to the many doubts that arise in the minds of anyone dealing with the question of property sale and purchase. In his slogan, Parr Se Perfect. Witty, humorous, and pithy, each ad film represents modern-day people with their new age requirements and expectations, and how the real estate company is committed to accommodating any expectation they might have from their ideal home. Snehal Gautam, who is the Chief Growth and Marketing Officer at Housing.com, PropTiger.com and Makan.com, said that through brand new ad campaign, the company plans to send across a message to its audience that it is okay to have doubts when it comes to buying, selling or renting a home.
We have launched, now, in fact, 2 television campaigns, and this one was the 3rd campaign of, the branding for Housing.com. And our objective for earlier campaigns was to raise the awareness of the brand Housing.com in our core TG. And with this one, the objective remains same, that, to increase the awareness. But at the same time, we have added one more objective of increasing the preference of the brand. So it's both increasing awareness and preference of the brand Housing.com among our core TG, which remains 25 to 35 in metro cities, tier 1 cities. Response, to be honest, it has been overwhelming for us. We are getting responses from industry veterans. We have seen LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts from people who follow advertisement and branding very minutely, and they have showered lots of praises on the campaign, but still early days. So we will have more concrete answers maybe after 15 or 20 days to understand how this works out in terms of business impact. Having said that, the kind of responses we are getting from our customers, from our consumers, and the industry veterans, we are pretty confident about this campaign.
A 360-degree campaign by Housing.com will help the company leverage high-impact TV, digital, and OTT platforms to grab more eyeballs with a blended media strategy. Earlier ad campaigns of Housing.com include Yahan Search Khatam Karo, featuring Bollywood stars Manoj Bajpayee and Rajkumar Rao in 2021, and Ghar Dhoondna Koi Inse Seekhe, starring Vicky Kaushal and Kiara Advani in 2018. In a move that would increase the cost of offering company guest houses or employee accommodations by GST-registered companies, the GST Council has done away with an exemption earlier granted to renting of residential units. After the amendment, which was announced after the 42nd meeting of the GST Council on July 13, 2022, and came into effect from July 18, 2022, GST-registered tenants will be liable to pay GST at 18%. Irrespective of whether the landlord is GST registered or not, if the unit is rented for business use. It is also important to note that GST on rent and GST on rental income are different. GST on rental income is applicable when a landlord receives an annual rent of Rs 20 lakhs and effectively becomes liable to pay GST on rental income. GST on rent, on the other hand, is the tax liability on the tenant if they are a GST-registered entity and using a residential property for business purposes. In simpler terms, GST on rental income is paid by the landlord, while the GST on rent is paid by the tenant. Experts are of the view that the move would increase the cost and compliance for companies. The move could also impact the co-living segment in the country. Most co-living operators rent out resident homes from individual owners and use those as student accommodations. Since in a majority of cases, they are GST registered, the application of 18% GST could affect their margins. Also, a recent ruling by the Tamil Nadu Authority for Advanced Ruling, that is the AAR, has paved the way for allowing input tax credit on GST paid on upfront lease premiums. So far, tax authorities have not been allowing tax credit on GST paid on upfront lease premiums, based on the logic that upfront payments made for repair or improvement of premises are similar to real estate transactions. And since there is no ITC available on such transactions, no such relief should be extended in such cases. Upfront premiums are also known as premium, salami, cost, price, development charges, etc., are payable for long-term lease of 30 years or more of industrial plots or plots for development of infrastructure for financial business. For a tenant, this non-refundable amount is quite similar to the down payment that a home buyer makes at the time of property purchase. That's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Take care and stay safe.